Well, welcome to a bit of business on Sunrise Daily. I'm being joined now by Mr. Bamdele Olusegun, who is a financial analyst. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning. Well, we're looking at rising inflation rates. Well, you are aware that recently inflation rate figures has been released by the National Bureau of Statistics was at 12.5% for the month, for the last month. Yeah. In 2011. So what would you say, what has that got to do with the investor right now?
Well, rising inflation is not good for the system. And obviously the one happening right now in Nigeria is induced by policies of the government, especially the fuel subsidy removal. And the tool to control inflation is normally the interest rate. And that is why when inflation is going up, interest rate has to go up in order to control inflation. And that is one of the barometers and economic dashboard indicator that you can use to measure the effectiveness of government policies, and or specifically the central bank. Now, the central bank is supposed to ensure that inflation comes down to manageable levels, like single digit. The moment it enters double digit, that means there's a weakness somewhere, there's a problem somewhere, and it has to be looked into. And you know with inflation that there's no way you can save. If you can't save, you can't invest. Now, if you can't invest, that means there can't be any economic growth. And again, if there's no economic growth, there will be unemployment, social upheavals here and there. So inflation rates going up is not good at all for the system.
But inflation rates, I mean, the fact that this has gone up now, it seems it's something that we've already factored into the system, in the sense that when the federal government decided to take away fuel subsidies, they knew that inflation was going to go up. And of course, the CBN governor said he was worried about that, but he's more worried about introducing processes that would introduce value chains into the country. So in some way, do you still see that coming back, value chains being introduced with the partial removal of subsidy? Yeah.
The macroeconomic responses so far have not really been so good. Because basically even common items like water has gone up. In fact, a market woman was telling me that, oh, this pure water sachet we buy for 5 naira is now 10 naira. That means they understand that inflation is biting. And I went into a pharmacy last week, and for the first time, this happened immediately after the Second World War, when prices changed per minute, per hour. Now, I went into that pharmacy and I picked the drug. And the pharmacist just told me that, sorry, that tag is wrong. The price has gone up because of subsidy. So you can see that with inflation, you can't plan, because pricing stability is not good for the system. And with pricing stability, anything can happen. There are a lot of distortions here and there. You can't be competitive again. So it's left now for the government to look at the appropriate macroeconomic responses to curb this inflation rise. And again, there were a lot of wrong assumptions that led to wrong conclusions, I would say. Because I've been following the fuel subsidy debate, and it appears one factor was not taken into consideration, the income level of Nigerians. You know, before you begin to implement policies like the fuel subsidy removal, you have to look at the income level of Nigerians. And there are formulas even to calculate appropriate prices that a country is supposed to fix for PHN tariffs, fuel, and all over. There are formulas, analytics. And that's what they use in most countries. And that's why you don't have all these social upheavals. But the moment you fix prices by gods, guesses, intuition, there will be problems. Because there are some people who can't certainly catch up. Because now your consumption level must not fall below a certain level. And once price goes up, that means some people are living below the minimum consumption level, which is very dangerous. They can't save, and without saving, there can't be capital formation. And capital formation is necessary for investment and economic growth.
But isn't it where the policies are supposed to come in? I mean, the government knew that of course inflation was going to creep in, people's buying power was going to be reduced. That's why the palliatives are supposed to help. For instance, if you spent more money on transport, you should still be able to spend just as much money as you used to spend before on the same transport. Maybe it will only change for those who actually have to buy the petrol in real terms, maybe on food as well. But in many ways, would you also say that the subsidy that was removed is a true reflection of the inflation that we have now? This is just a reaction that has gone, unchecked, uncontrolled, as it were.
Certainly the subsidy removal contributed a lot to the inflation rate going up. Certainly. Because everybody now gives, even the market woman tells you it's subsidy.
No, because you know that we ruled 50%, we increased the price of fuel by 50%, but the price of things do not obey the 50% rule. They've gone up, shot up by over 100%.
Of course.
In some cases.
You're right. These are the macroeconomic responses, because nobody wants to be the one to bear the brunt. And that's why everybody takes advantage of it. The barber now says, oh, because of subsidy. Everybody says subsidy everywhere. And the government should have really factored in this macroeconomic response and looked at the income level of Nigerians. You see, most Nigerians are living below the poverty line. And if you touch their income, then they have to respond the way they feel they can survive. It's survival of the fittest right now. And that's why you see prices going up anyhow, anywhere. Even some things that don't relate to fuel, everybody says, okay, if you increase your own price, then I have to buy from you and my income has not gone up, then I have to find a way to balance up. So it's a balancing act.
But if you were to advise the government, what would you have advised them to do differently? Would you have said leave the price of fuel as it is or remove it wholesale, considering the fact that if this had gone off wholesale, we possibly would have the same effect and the prices have gone up just about the same amount?
Yeah, you see, my grouse with the government over this is that there are scientific ways of fixing prices. Formulas for which you can calculate price increases that will not impact negatively on the people. But this was not taken into consideration, because I go around the filling stations now and I see what people buy as fuel. Some buy 200, some buy 500, and which shows that, in fact, there was a day I even asked the petrol attendants that how are people responding to this, and they said, it's bad. People are no more buying as they should, and which shows that the income level has not gone up, and now the increase has impacted on their income. So they have to find a way to try and balance. They're not buying.
Would you say that employers of labor should increase incomes? I mean, because if you own your own business, you can increase your price. But would you advocate that, income levels be increased as at now? Yeah,
that's why they pass the increases on the final consumer. That's what is happening, because they have to find a way of surviving. And like I spoke to some industrialists, they said, our workers can't come to work, so let us find a way to increase their salaries, and they pass the cost to the final consumer. And that's why we have all this. It is going haywire, believe you me. The prices go up, transportation everywhere. People are complaining, believe you me. And I think the government has to work so hard on the palliatives. Otherwise, I'm so scared that the poverty level may rise to 90%, and that is very dangerous for Nigeria, very dangerous, yeah.